Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. On this channel, we discuss day-to-day problems people face in their lives. Let's start with the video. Me, female 28, and my husband, male 34, have been married for a year. Before I met him, I got a dog named Ollie, a German Shepherd that was originally my sister's, but she passed away, and I immediately took him to live with me. My husband adores Ollie. He sometimes jokes that he's married to me only because of Ollie. He likes making jokes and doing pranks, but some of them are downright nasty. He'd always get me worried by lying, saying Ollie ran off when he was hiding him in some place I didn't know about. He knows how much worried and stressed out those pranks make me, but he says my reaction is priceless and worth the yelling, lashing afterwards. Ollie needed to be taken to the veterinary clinic for a checkup. My husband said he'd handle it. During the second visit to get the results, I received a call from my husband and his voice sounded like he wasn't okay. I asked what was wrong. I got really worried after he said it was about Ollie. I was starting to shake. I kept asking him what was going on and he told me that Ollie's been diagnosed with cancer. He said he wanted me to come over to the clinic as soon as possible because Ollie was with the vet. I couldn't stand. I started asking, is that why Ollie lost weight lately and such? I rushed to the clinic and found my husband standing near the entrance with Ollie. First thing I noticed was him laughing hysterically, telling me that I really bought into his lie. I was confused. He said it was just a prank. Ollie is perfectly healthy and handed me the results to check. After I checked, I lost it. I lashed out at him. Not gonna lie, I called him awful names and his face suddenly turned red, like he didn't expect me to react that way. He argued that I made it a big deal, obviously, and was mean to him over a prank that didn't even last an hour. I kept lashing out. I didn't give him a chance to keep talking. I took Ollie and the keys, then I left. I arrived to the clinic in a taxi. I left him at the clinic while me and Ollie went home by the car. 3 hours later, he came back and was upset. He usually laughs even in serious situations, but this time he didn't. He argued that I shouldn't have left him like that and that I overreacted, saying he was just trying to make good memories to look back on and laugh at, but I was unnecessarily overreacting. He stopped talking after that. Just wanted to mention that this started months after his father's passing. His family said he never mentions his dad nor keeps anything of his, although they were very close. I never met his father, but they told me he wasn't suffering from anything and his death was sudden, and my husband had a hard time processing it. This could be the reason for his behavior. Not the a-hole. This isn't a prank. This is abuse. He wanted you to feel like your beloved dog was dying. For his amusement, he laughed at your pain. Even him hiding the dog, saying he ran away, is unbelievably cruel. His words aside, I think he's jealous of Ollie. Forget leaving him at the clinic. You should consider leaving his lying, cruel ace entirely. Edit. Thanks for the awards, folks. Forwarding all the good vibes to original poster and Ollie. Yes, you're right. I don't know why he keeps joking about serious stuff like that. He once lied to his friend group about their friend dying overseas. Half of the group isn't talking to him anymore because he lied about their close friend's death. It scared them and it was highly inappropriate, but he kept trying to justify that it was a prank. I don't know why he thinks this is okay. I've already warned him and told him to not get Ollie involved in his pranks, but it took me to lose my temper to get him to realize that what he's doing was unacceptable. Look at a picture of him and tell it the following sentences. You get off on my misery. Nothing is funnier to you than my tears and pain. The more you hurt me, the more you laugh. You hurt me intentionally for a laugh. You want to hurt me again for a laugh. You believe me being in misery and pain is a good memory. You want to make good memories of causing me misery and pain. You like to look back at the moments you hurt me until I cried and smile. You find more and more cruel ways to cause me pain for more laughs. Say these aloud. Direct them at his smiling picture. Then take a deep breath. If you still feel like doing so, calmly tell one or two of these to his face. No tears, no yelling, just blank facts. See what excuses he finds if you believe there's worth in it. Not the a-hole. May he shut his cruel sadist mouth for a long time. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole, not even a bit of an a-hole, and your hubby is the awful a-hole one. F him. He knows how much Ollie means to you, and that is such a cruel and awful prank. Note the quotation marks there. That's not a prank at all. He needs to learn what he did was wrong. That is not okay to joke about a dog getting cancer. Never okay. If I was in that situation, I'd either make him go to couples counseling or divorce him because he's not listening to you about how much it upsets you. After reading more of the backstory in your responses, there is only one reasonable way to move forward here. You need to sit down with your husband and tell him point blank that his jokes about death, injury, illness, etc. are not now, nor have they ever been remotely amusing. Not to you, not to his family, and not to half of his friends who no longer speak to him because of them. Then, this is the time for an ultimatum, but you have to be willing to follow through if he doesn't do his part. Either he gets professional help to actually deal with his grief in appropriate and healthy ways, or you're filing for divorce. Next story. I'm an only child, and my 18 female parents divorced when I was 8. My dad remarried when I was 12, and for a while everything was fine. But after a few years of living there with them, I started to notice that my dad preferred my stepbrother, 13 now. They did more things together and started to ditch me to go to his games, his plays, his tournaments. For every 10 things I invited him, he only attended 1, maybe 2. His wife always gave excuses. Her son is younger than me. They're really close. His dad is not involved. And told me that at least I was lucky to have a dad with me, and specifically one who was willing to share his love. Well, my mom told him, sad stit, and gathered all these things to aim for sole custody when I was 13 and won it. Only then I saw my dad being hurt for me, being taken away, because in his eyes I was his little girl and him his little boy. I started to spend more time with my dad, but only if he picked me up to do it. He still missed most of my things, and I've always resented him and his other family for it. Since this is my last year, I had a lot of significant activities. I had my last debate, my volleyball game. I won best essay in my class, got into best 20 alumni, and finally went to pick my prom dress. Some, if not all of these things he missed because he was working or attending something regarding his family, and I can't have it anymore. My graduation is December 15th, the same as my stepbrother's elementary school, and when I told my dad, he said that he would see if he could make it, which meant he wouldn't, so I came clear. I said that while graduating elementary school is nice and yay for him, I'm graduating high school and I'm on my way to university. So he really can't compare those things. And if he chose my stepbrother's graduation, he better forget about me. His wife flipped and told me I was taking my stepbrother's dad away from a big day and I was being a spoiled brat. I told her that I couldn't be a spoiled brat if I was being ignored the whole time and I wasn't talking to her. My dad looked shocked. So I said that he could be there for once or he can miss forever and left. But now that I'm cooled off, I'm starting to feel bad. I love my dad to pieces. I just want him there for me too, and I surely don't want to hurt a little kid. I was wondering if I was an a-hole for acting how I did because he's paying half of my college fund and I gave him an ultimatum. Plus, my dad is not prone to confrontation while my mother and I are. Edit. Whoa, I didn't expect this to blow up. I'm going to answer some things that were stated below, and thank you all so much for your advice and judgment. Not the a-hole. Passing elementary school isn't really an achievement, but high school is, especially with the honors that you have. You can't spend your life waiting for your dad to show you the same support he does his stepson. They say you should be thankful you have a dad who loves you, but if he ditches you in favor of your stepbrother all the time, how lucky are you really? That's not sharing love, that's playing favorites, and it's trash. Not the a-hole. Your ultimatum might have been a bit intense, but I don't blame you for it. Years of observing and experiencing neglect wears on a person. You're 100% right. An elementary graduation doesn't compare to a high school one. Don't let anyone gaslight you into believing that your milestone doesn't trump an elementary school graduation. Your stepmom sounds like a nightmare, and she's probably been more behind your father's time management than you realize. Her delusion that your dad has more parental responsibility to her son than he does to you is bananas. If you feel like you need to clear the air with your dad, I would suggest speaking to him in a place free of your stepmom and being ready to lay all of this on the table for him to see. He must have had the impression that his absence hasn't been bothering you, but I think it's time he woke up. Not the a-hole. Not to hijack your story, but I went through something similar. My dad was in the military and started a second family after he and my mother divorced. He spent his leave time with them. When my older brother graduated, he didn't show up. When my graduation was coming, he told me he could not come because he had to take classes for work. I fell apart. I told him I didn't have to understand because I had done nothing but understand for 11 years. I told him I deserved to have him there, and it wasn't my fault that he had missed so much. He was stunned. He also came to my graduation. Our relationship improved tenfold. We're very close now. I share this because it was somewhat similar to your experience. I don't know what could have happened if he hadn't come, but I know I would not have regretted calling him out. It isn't your fault that your stepbrother's father passed away. It isn't your fault that your graduation and his event happened to be on the same day. You do not deserve to miss out on having your father there. Next story. I, female 32, lost my son to sudden infant death at the end of November. He was only 5 months old. It was unexpected. He was our first after waiting for 4 years. This was so devastating. My heart feels heavy. I can no longer hear him laugh, cry, watch his dad play with him. The house is empty and I barely find the energy to get out of bed because my family needs me. I spent Christmas with my in-laws. My family weren't happy. They insisted that I come to celebrate New Year's Eve and eat dinner with them. I found my aunts who have been very supportive and we talked. My husband apologized for not attending. My brother went on about how disrespectful my husband was for not coming and how he was treating my family like they were less than, but that's not true. Before dinner was ready, my aunt talked about my son and wanted everybody to take 3 minutes of silence to honor him. In exactly 15 seconds, my sister-in-law got up and said she wanted to tell the family something. Everyone was looking at her, and she announced that she and my brother were expecting. My aunt and I were stunned while everybody else got up and congratulated her. It was very disrespectful to do that. I didn't move from my seat. She kept staring at me until my mom told me to go hug her and congratulate her and my brother. Then my sister-in-law smiled at me and she said she wanted me to answer some questions about my son's death after dinner to know what went wrong and prevent it in the future. I lashed out at her and told her she was disrespecting me and my son by talking like that. She felt defended and kept asking why I was talking to her like that. My mom told me to knock it off. My brother said nothing. He just looked upset. I got into an argument with my mom and sister-in-law. She told me to not treat your sister like that and ruin the night for the family. I left before dinner. My mom called my husband and told him that I ruined the night with how I reacted to the news and that everyone lost their appetite because of unnecessary stress caused by me. She sent me a text saying that my sister-in-law found New Year's Eve as the perfect opportunity for the announcement, but I was sad and petty and ruined their night and needed to apologize to my brother and his wife because they were incredibly upset for ruining their year and their joy. I just want to mention that my husband was so mad and said that he would have put everyone in their place if he was there when they berated me and hurt me like that. I don't know what might have happened if he was there, but based on his reaction, it would have been a messy situation. Also, my brother constantly judges my husband and says he has no respect for the family, while he lets his wife do this to me without even saying anything. He probably agrees with her, that's why he didn't say anything. Just sat there and watched. Double not the a-hole. Not only was she rude to do this during a moment of silence, but asking you what went wrong implies something could have been done and you are somehow to blame. The reality is nothing could have been done and what happened was 0% your fault. Not the a-hole. I'm so sorry for your loss. Your sister-in-law and brother were at best insensitive and at worst gloating about your loss. For your own sake, take all the space you need from these people. Your parents are excited about a grandbaby, which is understandable, but it looks like they've forgotten about your son, their grandson, and it's only been a month or so since he passed away. Children can't be replaced. Not the a-hole. I hate people. It's called SIDS for a reason. Sudden infant death syndrome. It's incredibly stupid for people to ask a mother who lost their baby from SIDS on how to prevent it. Your sister-in-law shouldn't be having kids at all. Your mom has no class and for being so callous to you. You didn't lose the baby years ago, but only 2 months ago. These people deserve all the bad karma to happen to them. Next story. My sister had a baby about 6 months ago. Since then, the baby daddy hasn't really stepped up at all. They apparently are still together, but went from seeing her 5 to 6 days a week to maybe once a week. He doesn't buy anything for the baby, he does nothing. She constantly complains and is turning super bitter to the situation. She calls me every day and does nothing but talk about her crap baby daddy. I asked her multiple times to give me updates on other parts of her life, but she will say one thing and then somehow tie it back to her baby daddy. Yesterday, she went on a tangent about how she never would have had a baby if she knew she was going to be alone. I got irritated and asked how she didn't see this coming. She then says, "What the hell is that supposed to mean?" I say, "He has 3 other baby mothers, works a slightly above minimum wage job, doesn't have reliable transportation, his other baby mothers have said that he doesn't do crap for their babies, and there is no way 3 women are all lying." She says he told me otherwise. I had no reason to believe. He said this was for the long run. I say, well, it looks like he is taking a long run away from his responsibilities. I love you, but you're bitter. He is responsible for his kid, but it's no surprise what's going on. The sooner you realize you're a single mom and take his ace to court for child support, the better off you'll be. She then cursed me out and hung up on me. She's no longer speaking to me and no longer having me babysit her baby. My mom is mad at me for upsetting my sister and now having to babysit more. She agrees that I spoke facts though. Not the a-hole, honestly, it was harsh, but it was what she clearly needed to hear. She's stuck tied to that idiot for 18 years because she thought she would be different. That those other 3 women were lying and she somehow was freaking special. She should have never let that man boy in her life, and maybe, just maybe, she'll accept what you're telling her much sooner than the years it takes sometimes. Good luck. Edit. Just a quick FYI. I was in this situation and guess who raised her big sister's 2 teenagers? Yeah, me. I had to take them after my mom died because my sister gave up on parenting after about a year and 3 months. Not the a-hole. It was tough love. She was venting to you every day and it wasn't about some unfixable thing like having a chronic disease. It was about something she can help. I hate when people complain on and on about something they can help improve. Your sister needs to wake up. He has a pattern of doing this and she's deluded herself into thinking she would be special. That he would transform into an amazing partner and father for her alone. I know someone exactly like this, and unfortunately, she can barely get any child support from him because he makes so little and has 4 other kids, all of whom he's ordered to pay child support to, and his wages can only be garnished so much. What did she want you to do? Just go on listening to her forever while letting her cling to this man and let her life stagnate? Ugh. My sister was similar to this. She's always had horrible taste in men. In high school, she was dating a really good guy. Athletic, smart, valedictorian, and ended up with a full ride scholarship to Berkeley. Naturally, she broke up with him to date the school drug dealer. Fast forward a few years and she's dating a guy I worked with, a really great guy. Breaks up with him and dates, moves in with another guy I worked with, who was a mean, putrid alcoholic. He got on the wrong side of our dad and the relationship immediately failed. Then marries a guy who is, of course, an irresponsible alcoholic who felt it was more important to buy cigarettes and beer than to put food in the bellies of their 3 kids. My dad told me if he was ever diagnosed with a terminal illness, he was going to kill her husband. They finally divorced and shortly thereafter started dating a huge mean alcoholic who looked like Brutus from Popeye. After I first met him, she asked me what I thought of him. I told her he was basically all of her previous boyfriend's husband rolled into one person, a worthless pig. She married him anyway and they eventually divorced. In her defense, she had some really crappy things happen to her in her childhood. She finally went through some pretty intense therapy. She's now married to a really great guy who treats her well, but it is exhausting to go through the same kind of drama with somebody for years on end.